Hello and welcome to the second episode of Spud Park, my Planet Coaster Park project. In last episode, we began construction and built the main street, and in today's episode, we will be installing the first two flat rides in this park. To get started, however, I wanted to cover the sides of these buildings here. This was done with yet more trees and bushes than I care to count. Thankfully, it got the job done and covered what I needed covered. I would also like to state that I am aware it's been a while since my last video, but don't worry, I will be back with more content coming very soon on Spuds and Coasters. Next up, I began to pave the area, ready to place in these flat rides and pave the way for this park's future, and that was a terrible pun. Our first flat ride would be a chair swing, because let's face it, if you've ever built Planet Coaster Parks, you have definitely placed this in at some point. When it came to choosing a colour palette, I decided on the park's colour scheme being red and blue, and I think it tied in nicely. Also, if you have themed area ideas, comment them below. I already have one in mind that was suggested by a channel called Found My Fearless, go check his channel out, great content. So I will have that in the park, but for other areas, I'd love your input, especially with the recent update we have with arcades. I also wanted this park to have queue time boards at the entrance of each ride, and you can actually see me saving it as a blueprint to keep coming back to it. This will come in really handy for me as well, saving time that can now be spent on theming structures which I so desperately need for amazing themed areas. Now, you can also see me colouring the chair swing here with the aforementioned blue and red colour scheme. Whilst I begin theming for the queue line of our chair swing, I would like to know that this will probably end up being the shortest episode of Spud Park. My aim when starting this project was for each episode to be roughly between 10 and 15 minutes, so that is what you can expect going ahead. And once again, I would like to extend a massive thank you to the support you guys have given me. Watching my videos, my vlogs appearing really popular. I know you hear it from most YouTubers, but I really do appreciate your support. And if you do like this content and want to see more, consider subscribing! And now that fencing was coming along quite nicely, I began to lavishly decorate with natural bushes and fauna. Well, as lavish as I could achieve anyway. This was done with many flowers. Well, I don't know how else it would be done. I also threw in some rocks for good measure. A key Planet Coaster tip I have to mention is when designing these flowery and bushy areas is to make sure they do not come across as heavily artificial. It's okay to have a bit of overgrowth here and there, and I try to represent that throughout this park, and as we get to the themed areas of which a bit of wild overgrown plants will work, that may alter, but for now we're trying to be somewhat presentable. We're talking winning the Great British Bake Off level. Adding small funny little details make an experience so much better, and I added the heart topiary here as you can see. But now, theming the part of the queue line on the other half of the entrance arch, I incorporated some rocks and some bushes here, and I used the rocks to make it stand out and also make the land seem more natural. By the way, if you are enjoying this episode so far, check out the playlist on my channel of the other episodes, or rather it'll get larger the more I update this series, so go check that on my channel. Now that I was busily theming this sector of the first flat ride, I was also trying to decide what the next flat ride of the park would be. I had the idea of location, but was struggling to think of a typical theme park flat ride that could suit a generic theme without taking too much off the actual themed areas, given that they were of course the main focus of this theme park. I did initially think of a carousel, however I decided it wouldn't necessarily work in the area of land I'd initially intended, but eventually I did come to a conclusion. And that conclusion gave us the Ferris wheel. I chose this as it does look quite nice from guest perspective, and as much as this seems like quite a tall attraction, it will not get too busy in terms of queue times, yet also positively impact the skyline. Each of these queue lines in the area would have a cattle pen queue. Even though they are a pain to wait in sometimes, they do fit in small spaces and are sometimes a necessary evil for parks with limited space. Take Flight of the Skyline at Legoland Windsor for an example. That cattle pen is diabolical, but they don't have much space to have a longer queue, well, at least to the best of my knowledge. With the Ferris wheel overlooking the back of the main street which we built in episode 1, I needed to cover the bare back of... wait... the rear of the facades, to prevent the guests on the Ferris wheel to see that. And with some trees, this wasn't that tough of a nut to crack. Stop! Wasn't too difficult to achieve. And then I had the bright idea of having a mock-up archway to these two flat rides, but it would actually be you walking under quote-unquote fake roller coaster track. I used the aerodynamics track as, let's face it, theme parks with coaster archways tend to love Arrow's track design. Take the Alton Towers corkscrew as an example, or Holiday Park's corkscrew in Germany. But before I could work on the archway idea, I wanted to theme off the Ferris wheel's queue line. In terms of naming these two flat rides, I have kept them as placeholders. However, if you have any suggestions for names of these two flat rides, I'd love to hear them. And if I like them, I'll name the rides that and give you a shout out. Keeping in line with the chair swing aesthetic, I wanted various fauna and foliage scattered throughout this queue line. Another Planet Coaster tip I want to share with you guys is when designing a flat ride, use the customised path tool to blend it in with the path aesthetic. We see this reflected so much with UK flat rides. One I can immediately think of is Rush at Thorpe Park, or for those who don't know rides by name, Rush is the big swing near the front. It is such a nice little detail to use in your projects, especially because it doesn't add anything to the build limit of which we all despise. So if you want to make rides more realistic, there's another reason. The next thing I needed to get done was covering the gap between the main street and the Ferris wheel's open space with, you guessed it, more plants and bushes, as not having vast open space is so important. Leaving these open spaces makes parks feel inconsistent, gappy and bare, so filling these spaces is extremely crucial to a good park. And now that I was nearing the end of finishing planting around this Ferris wheel, I then realised I would have to do the most tedious part of theme park construction in Planet Coaster 2. Fencing. As much as this does seem tedious, and believe me, it is. But once it's done, parks are more accurate, as most UK parks are fully fenced off in most areas, and let's face it, it guarantees preventing guests from wandering into areas that could potentially harm them, like ride areas as an example. However, I was getting very excited as I knew that the next step was building that fake roller coaster track archway to these two rides, of which I previously mentioned in this episode. I genuinely do not know why I was so giddy about this one archway. We haven't even installed the first proper coaster at this park, and this has made me look forward to it even further, but I'm not telling spoilers for the first coaster just yet. However, I might start teasing stuff on my channel, so stay tuned. The fake archway resembles a slightly overbanked turn, which I don't even think were on Arrow coasters, so well done to me. However, if I am wrong, please correct me in the comments below. I'm bound to get things wrong. I don't know everything, I haven't been everywhere. And now that this is the state of how progress is moving, it is time I reveal the first themed area for Spud Park. And this will be a Viking themed area. Yes, I love the Viking scenery kit we have in this game, so putting this into effect for this project will be spectacular. And I'm so glad that you're here to come along and watch me navigate this chaotic park build, because let's face it, so far this is chaos. I was only planning to construct the entrance in this episode to build anticipation for you all for episode 3, where all will be revealed about the area and the first roller coaster will be built right here at Spud Park. By the way, if you do have any name suggestions for the park itself, by all means comment them down below. But alas, this has brought us to the end of this episode. Thanks so much for making it to this point, and if you have enjoyed the video and don't want to miss episode 3, make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed it, and I will see you on my next video, whatever that shall be. Bye bye!